Let's lock. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. All individuals entering city-operated facilities, including City Hall, are required to wear non-medical masks. Those at the table are not required to wear the masks while sitting as long as they're distance 6 feet from anyone else. Once you leave your seat at the table, you must put your mask back on. As directed by Manitoba Health, we're requesting people avoid contact within 2 meters. Anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing, if you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, we are requesting that you excuse yourself from the room. Please note that when you join the meeting via Zoom, all participants will be in the waiting room and your microphones will be muted until the host lets you in the room. You can watch the hearing live via City of Board Revision YouTube channel. When called upon, you will be allowed from the waiting room and permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once you have been heard, you can continue to watch the hearing live via City Board Revision YouTube channel. If you are participating and currently watching the live meeting on YouTube, please mute your audio sound player now. I'll introduce the panel members and the Secretary of the Board and the Assessor. First, I'm Marcel Larondo. I'll be chairing. Lori Davidson is to my left. Mr. Ray Mascott is coming to us via Zoom. Our Assessor today is Candace Wright, and our Secretary today is Carrie Belshaw. We will be hearing applications for revision of assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matter must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessment of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council, is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing. It issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decision with respect to the applications may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemption from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions and the applicants may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after the applicants have been heard and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live stream recorded and will be part of the public record. Use of cell phone is not permitted except by the approval of the chair. So I'm going to shut mine off now. Where is it? I had it. I'll find it. I found it. Otherwise,
while you're doing that,
otherwise it's going to ring. You want to swear everybody in while I'm doing this?
Madam Assessor, please state your name for the record. And do you affirm the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do. Thank you. And our first applicant, for the record, please state your name.
Carl Platt.
And do you affirm the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Michelle, I'm just going to put you back in the waiting room now, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Sorry.
First property we're dealing with will be 80 Philip Lee Drive. Carl?
Yes, I've included in my package.
1 second, Carl. We're going to start with the assessor,
Sorry.
and
Okay.
then we'll see if you have some questions of her. Candace, when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. The subject property is roll number 0400726275. The address is 80 Philip Lee Drive and unit is 301. This is an apartment style condo that was built in 2018. The living area is 1,065 square feet. There are 2 bedrooms, 1 full bathroom, 1 half bathroom, and a shower. There is central air conditioning and a balcony. The 2021 assessment roll for this property is $303,000, which is $284.51 per square foot. The property was purchased post-reference in October of 2018, so I could not consider that sale price during my review. Since the subject condo was built fairly recently, all sales in that complex were post-reference. So I had no available sales to use from that complex. This is a 4-story, 52-unit condo building. So I selected a similar nearby building that's also a 4-story building. It has 71 units and it was built in 2017. As you can see on the map that I've provided, it is fairly close to the subject complex, and I've also provided exterior photos of both buildings for reference. All comparable units are apartment style. The year built and effective year built are all 2017. All comparable units are 912 square feet. All have 2 bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms, central air conditioning, and either a balcony or patio. The sale price for these units range from $247,523 to $256,000, which gives us a sale price per square foot ranging from $271.41 to $280.70. Thank you.
Carl, do you have any questions of the assessor before you make your presentation?
No.
Ray, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Lori?
Just a quick one. In looking at the pictures that you provided, they look similar in terms of the exterior. Are the finishes within both blocks and units similar?
I would say fairly similar. Yes, I mean, as I've stated, it's not a perfect situation to compare two different condo complexes like this. But with a fairly new complex where we have no sales prior to the reference date, I felt that this complex was the most similar comparison that I could use, both in terms of the exterior and interior.
And there wasn't like basically your comp, there's 4, they're all the same in one complex. Was there no other comps that were the same but in a different complex?
This is the nearest one I could find that was within the same area that I felt was most comparable.
Okay, thank you.
There were no sales in the 80 Phillips Lee?
Because it was just built in 2018, all sales were actually after the April 1st, 2018. So I had no sales before that reference date.
Well, no possessions. There were sales, but no possessions.
Yeah, we go by the land titles registration date, which is the possession date,
Okay.
yes.
Other question I have for you is square footage on this one's a little bit larger than the others.
Yeah.
And yet you have it at a higher per square foot. Usually they're lower. What would have driven this one higher?
It may just be something about that building in particular. I know generally that is accepted, but I feel based on these comparables, we're trying to be within 5% of market value. I feel that it is.
Is 256 within your 5% or 280?
Well, if you'd also have to do an adjustment for the size as well. This one's over 1,000 square feet, and those ones are just over 900.
But we said the larger units usually have a less per square footage charge.
Yeah.
When was this apartment, this condo, the one that you're using on Florento, when was it built?
In 2017.
So really, they're very similar that way. So if they're so similar, why are you going to choosing the 284, which is higher than any of your square footages?
I feel that, 284 is within 5% of the price per square foot.
But why is it higher?
I'm not sure.
No further questions. Carl, your presentation.
Okay, what I've included in my package, the first 2 suites, condo sales aren't going very well right now, so I don't have any sold information. These are current listings on the market today. And the first 2 in my package are the building within our complex, the second building that was constructed And you can see that the units of similar square footage there are lower than your assessment of my unit. And if we go on in the package, these are all in Transcona area. They're the ones on Pegwa Street. I don't know if these are exactly the same buildings you were looking at. But those prices are on the market today, $293 and $279. And then the last one in Pegwas is $284.9. That's an even larger, that's an 1,100 square foot. All of these units are 2-bedroom, 2-bath to have a fair comparison. And then after that, I understand from your information package that the assessments are not to be considered, but the assessments I included are 3 assessments for identical suites to mine in the same building. The first 2 are actually on the same floor, and one is being assessed at $296, and the next one's being assessed at $293. Now, I don't understand why you're assessing 2 different suites on my floor that are identical to mine in square footage and layout at lower prices than mine.
I think that's the question.
There can be factors that we take into consideration that aren't shown here. I would have to take a look at these units. Things like view, if the unit looks out at a park versus a parking lot, that can actually affect the value.
Well, if you look at the picture that you have in your information on our unit, that's pretty much my view of the building across from me. So I don't know if that's not really a park, it's another building.
I mean, like I said, I can't review these other units at this time and tell you what the difference is. There must be some difference that would cause that difference in value, whether it's a location of the unit, or view, as I discussed. Those are the most likely things that I can do.
Those are all the questions I have.
And your presentation? That's all your presentation as well?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Lori?
I have no questions, thank you.
Ray, do you have any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Carl, when you said about the previous assessments, the ones on Philip Lee that you supplied us with, they're 293, 296 there. I mean, they're very close to yours. What number were you thinking was reasonable on yours then?
Well, 296 would be fine. 293 would be nicer, but.
Less would be fine too, right?
Yeah.
It's apartment style, right? Yeah. No, I've got no further questions. If you leave it with us, Carl, and
Okay. Thanks for hearing.
I'll wait until you do the wipe down this time.
So what?
You're gonna wipe it down?
Oh, my apologies.
It's okay, you got lots of time. Find a seat that doesn't have a paper on it here. Right? Hmm? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have any? How did I miss
I'll
that?
jump in if I have questions.
Huh?
I'll jump in if I do.
I kind of figured you would, that's
I
what.
usually do that.
Thank you.
I shut you down.
Lots of time.
Huh?
Lots of time.
Oh, it's not right, thank God.
Okay.
I'm 80
Take
years
this
old and
seat,
I've
you know what I'll do?
You shouldn't have run.
Well, I'm glad I can do it. Actually, I'm 80 on the 14th.
See, you did good. So now we're gonna deal with 30. I'm gonna ask you one question before you go too far.
So it's always gonna be in this folder here.
Oh, you have to stand back over there, sir.
And then,
The reason I'm late.
oh, okay. So I have to keep going
It's
back.
okay,
to
there's
that
lots of
and
time.
then just
You can
scroll
take a
down.
seat.
Correct.
Oh, I see, I didn't
Yeah.
get back, I was trying to find him.
Just take
Yeah.
a seat.
Once it's open, like, can you minimize the screen just for a
Yeah.
sec? You'll see they are listed here, but that looks like stuff from maybe this morning evening.
Okay, so I have to go, I'll take this out then. I'll just go back.
That's okay. Sometimes it's less confusing.
This is number 8, right?
Number 8, correct. So you'll only have the assessor's brief and it'll be a verbal presentation. So let's try it again.
What am I doing wrong? Okay, now it's my turn to do something wrong. Number 8. This one. And you said that it's verbal on that.
Correct, yeah. Those are all set.
Okay. You want to swear him in?
I do.
Oh, I did?
Mr. Applicant, for the record, please state your name.
Aleksandrovski Vyacheslav.
Do you affirm the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yep.
Thank you.
She's going to start. Candace, when you're ready.
Thank you. The subject property is roll number 0400705930. This is unit 205 at 35 Valhalla Drive. This is an apartment style condo built in 1972. The living area is 1,170 square feet. There are 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms. There is central air conditioning and a balcony. The 2021 assessment for this property is $244,000, which is $208.55 per square foot. The most recent sale on this property was in 2011 for $246,000. I have 4 comparable properties here that are all also located in the complex at 35 Valhalla Drive. They are all apartment style units built in 1972. The effective year built is 1977 for comparable number 2, since it is slightly more renovated than the others. The living area for these units ranges from 1,154 square feet to 1,177 square feet. Comparables 1, 2, and 4 have 3 bedrooms, and comparable 3 has 2 bedrooms. All have 1.5 bathrooms, central air conditioning, and either a balcony or patio. The sale price for these properties ranges from $241,900 to $292,000, and the price per square foot ranges from $206.91 to $248.09. When I did my review, these were the only 4 sales in the complex that were greater than 1,100 square feet, which is why I made the decision to include those 2 sales that are a bit older from 2015. So that was the reason I went with that decision. And that's all of my evidence.
Do you have any questions of the assessor before
No,
you make the
everything is right.
presentation? None?
That's right.
Lori?
Just a quick question, have you, inspected this property?
I did not. It is listed either currently or was recently listed, so I was able to look at that MLS listing. Thank you.
Thank you. It was driving me crazy. Ray, did you have any questions?
I have no questions though.
No questions? We'll move on to your presentation, sir.
Okay, thank you. Before I'm started, my English not very well, but anyway, I try explain why I'm ordered that meeting. I'm living that condo from 2011. I'm bought that condo 24600, like you say. That's right. And a problem with that condo. My condo for sale from 2015 and today's 2020, and I cannot sell that condo. And now my price, I'm dropping down to 229. It's still an MLS. Everybody can go and check. It's perfect condo. I'm live there. It's not for rent, not for anybody else, just me and my family. I have 3 kids and wife. It's new floor, it's new appliances, it's new wallpaper, it's perfect condition, and I cannot sell. In your assessment, guys, say in 2016, its price of the condo is 262, and I cannot sell already. I started sell from 2015. In 2018, it's say 269, and in 2020, it's say 244, and I still cannot sell in 229. A point, I pay taxes for that prices, 244 or 269 or 262, and condo really I cannot sell for 229. And my message, all that assessment is wrong. Or you can send it, you have to send it somebody to that condominium and check everything, because it's impossible. 5 years in the market, in 5 years I cannot sell my condo. I'm dropping price already, less from $15,000 when I bought that condo. That's it, that's all. That's my point. Please.
Candace, you got questions?
Are there any sales prior to the April 1st of 2018 in the complex you know of that I haven't?
I know today it's 2 more rooms, 2 more apartments, 3 bedrooms, exactly like my one, for sale. And guys cannot sell that condos. It's big problem. Only 3 bedrooms. I don't know what's going on with 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, but 3 bedrooms in that building. Assessment you send it is wrong amount. That's all.
And those are currently for sale and aren't selling?
No, it's still for sale. If you go to MLS, you can see it's that another 2, I guess it's 105 and 106.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's all.
Ray, any questions?
I think you said your property is in good condition, is that correct?
It's very good conditions.
Very-
All very good conditions.
Very good.
A problem only with that assessment is wrong assessment. Amount is you have to change or you have to do something.
But the prices, some of the apartments sold for a lot more in the past. Is something going on in that apartment block or that?
No, I don't know. No, a price it's jumping up and dropping down. I don't know why. It's big difference between 2018 and 2020, and from 60 to 69,000, and drop it in that year to 244, and nothing changed in the building.
So what do you think yours is worth? What do you think it should be assessed at?
Assessment. I pay taxes for that amount. That's the problem.
What should it be?
Sorry.
What should the assessment be, in your opinion?
Oh, my opinion. Maybe 225.
No more questions?
Lori?
This was built in 1972,
Yes.
your apartment complex and your unit. Is there a lot of newer condos in that general neighborhood of yours? Like, is there a lot
No,
of
really.
condos
No,
out there?
no, that old area, it's not space for it's some building, but long far from my condo.
So there's not a lot of condos?
No, no lot condo around.
Okay, thank you.
What year did you buy it?
2011,
And what was it in 2011, the price?
246.
246 then. Because in 2017, we're seeing some 242, 241, and 16. 50, and 15 was higher. So it does seem like it's been having a regression.
Yeah, according to these sales that were available, it does seem like it increased between well, the most recent one I have is 27.
Even 2017 is,
Slightly lower than 16,
yeah. So So there seems to be a regression there. But we didn't have any sales closer to April 1st, 2018, did we?
Unfortunately,
But we had some listings because he had his listed at 229
yeah.
and it didn't sell.
It's still on MLS.
Anything in closing, Candace?
I think I've covered everything.
Think so? Anything in closing? You think you?
That's all.
That's all? Okay, leave it with us and we'll make our decision.
Thank you so much. Miss.
Thank you.
Thank you.
may.
You can
Yeah,
go.
thank you.
That was number 8. We'll move on to number 9, which will be 1151 St. Anne's Road, correct?
Correct.
You want to just come over?
No, it's Michelle first on the screen.
No. Oh, Michelle?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Michelle that's got this one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michelle.
Just a few more minutes, okay?
No problem. Hello.
Hi, Michelle. For the record, please state your name.
Michelle Backlund.
David, we're going to be dealing with the lady that's on the screen right now.
Oh, I see.
She's not in the room, but she's the one that's up.
Thank you, Michelle. And do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Candace, you may start.
Thank you. The subject property is roll number 0802107830. This is unit 302 at 1151 St. Anne's Road. This is an apartment style condo built in 2006. The living area is 1,095 square feet. There are 2 bedrooms, 1 full bathroom, 1 half bathroom, and a shower. There is central air conditioning and a balcony. The 2021 assessment is $259,000, which is $236.53 per square foot. The subject property was purchased post-reference in November of 2018, so I could not include that sale price as part of my review. Before that, it also sold in 2011 for $248,000. I have 4 comparable properties here. The subject complex at 1151 St. Anne's Road is a 4-story building with 24 units built in 2006. And the first 2 comparables are also from that complex. Then comparables 3 and 4 are from 1145 St. Anne's Road, which is a 4-story, 32-unit building built in 2011. And I've included photos of the exterior of those buildings for reference. So comparables 1 and 2 were built in 2006, comparables 3 and 4 in 2011. The living area for these units ranges from 1,066 to 1,150 square feet. All are 2-bedroom units, all have 2 bathrooms. Comparables 1 and 2 have a full bath and a 3-piece bathroom, and comparables 3 and 4 have 2 full bathrooms. All have central air conditioning and balconies. I will note that comparables 1 and 2 have heavy traffic views, and the subject comparables 3 and 4 have no view recorded for those units. The sale price for these properties range from $235,000 to $275,000, and the price per square foot range from $220.45 to $246.72.
Any questions of the assessor? Michelle?
Yes, actually, I do have a few comments about the information from the assessor. Is it my turn? I can speak now?
You can ask her questions about her information, and then you'll make your presentation on the file after you've asked her questions. Do you have any questions about the information she's giving forward?
Yes. So first off, I've noticed that comparable number 1 is the same unit that I've also noticed as a very comparable option. That one sales year is 2017. So that one is the most recent and the most comparable, I would think, compared to the other comparables. And also 3 and 4 are in a separate building. So I think comparables 1 and 2 are more comparable in terms of being in the same building. So when the value of 259 was reached, was there a certain weighting given to each one of these comparables in terms of the assessor thinking of which one is the most relevant?
I would definitely agree that comparables 1 and 2 are better since they are within the same building. Obviously, they're more similar. And the comparable 2 is an older sale in 2015, and that's an issue with limited sales. Those were the only 2 sales in that building. So I can't really put all of my decision on value into just one sale. That sale of unit 103, I mean, that one's on the first floor, which typically means the sale price is lower being on the first floor compared to the third floor. So I can't really base an assessment just on that one property. So I would say I used comparables 1 and 2 fairly equally.
Yes, I agree with your comment that comparable number 2 is a much older sale. That one's from 2015. I did notice something interesting between comparables 1 and 2, that they're both in the same building as my unit, and comparable 1 is more recent in 2017. Comparable 2 is older from 2015, but both of those units basically have, they're in the same building, they have the same number of bedrooms and bathrooms, same square footage, all the same data other than, I guess, the floor that they're on. And to me, it shows that the 2017 value being actually quite a lot lower than the 2015 sales value shows that the 2017 one would be a more accurate recent value, and that sale price of $235, considering that comparable number 1 is on the first floor and has a, I believe it has an enclosed balcony and is on the, and our unit is on the uppermost level. So I could understand taking that $235 value and adding in maybe $5,000-$10,000 for having higher up unit, but then not having the enclosed balcony. So that's kind of where I came to think that the value based on the comparable number 1 would be closer to around 243, which would be more in line with some of the evidence that I've included as my appraisal and the more recent listing sales for the building, or listings, not sales.
Just a comment, comparables 1 and 2 are in the same building, but both of those actually face St. Anne's Road. So they have a heavy traffic queue, which typically would have a negative effect on market value. From the information I have, I believe your unit does not face St. Anne's. That's correct.
No, unit 103 is I suppose on the bottom level and towards, facing kind of northwest, facing towards St. Anne's. Our unit, I tried to show it in one of my evidence maps, but it's not necessarily that clear, so I can describe. Our unit is on the 3rd floor, and it is facing St. Anne's. There's a lot of noise on our balcony and in our unit from being in very close proximity to St. Anne's. It's not on the back side of the building, which faces over a grassy patio area. We're facing the road like units 103 and I guess 204. 204 would be, I guess, 1 level lower than us and 1 unit over, I believe. Actually, I'm not 100% sure if unit 204 is on the same north side of the building or on the south. I think it's on the south side of the building. So unit 204 would then be facing over the grassy patio area behind us, not facing onto the road. So I also had a couple of comments about comparables 3 and 4. So I did notice that in the assessor's map, it's pointing to 1145 building as the same building as 1151. I believe that's probably due to the fact that I think I tried Google Earthing one of those buildings as well, and it identifies the incorrect location. The building 1145 is actually not in the same building as us or adjacent to it. It's on the it's a couple hundred meters down from us, down the lane off of the main St. Anne's Road towards the Bois d'Esprit forest and river. So those two units in that building would be further from the road, further from some of the noise, and closer to the river. I also noticed that comparables 3 and 4 are a much newer building. That's 2011, whereas ours is 2006. So you can notice in the pictures of the outside of the building that it is seems to have a higher finishing quality on the outside. And I've seen pictures of the inside of the building from some of the listings, which I had included as well, that shows a higher level of finish and more modern on the inside. I think that mostly covers off my my thoughts on the evidence from the assessor.
Okay. Ray, do you have any questions of the assessor?
No questions.
Lori?
Yes, I have a question. In terms of listings, are there any current listings in this building? Like you use 2 comps for, like, because there's sales, but do you know if there's any in the?
I can't recall if there are listings.
Okay, and maybe one other question. In terms of this market region, what was the change in assessment
In
overall for condos?
condos,
Yeah.
I actually don't have that information. I apologize. I know this unit in particular, the assessment did actually come down slightly from assessments. I don't change.
This is a slight decrease then from prior years of stuff on the previous cycle.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I've got no questions. Michelle, on with your presentation.
Okay, thank you. I couldn't quite hear what was said there a minute ago, but we can move on. Okay, so I put together a summary file.
She'd asked the question about, Lori had asked a question about your value going down from the previous time. It had dropped down from where it was to what it is now, to 259. 259 is lower than what it was at before. Is that correct? Did I understand that correctly?
The 2018 and 2019 assessment was just slightly higher at 261.
261.
Dropped a little bit.
So it's come down from 261 to 259.
Yeah.
That's what she had talked about. Now we'll go on to the presentation.
Thank you. So I included a file that has a summary of some of the information and references some of my evidence documents to go along with it. So our value that we were assessed at by the city now was 259. As previously stated, our square footage is 1,095. So our assessed value per square foot is around 236.5. So we did actually recently have an appraisal of our unit when we were changing our mortgage from one bank to another bank. So they received all the information about our condo building and unit, and we sent them photos of the inside of our condo as well in order for their appraiser to do an estimate of the value of our home for our mortgage. I included that as item number 1, which showed that the assessment value was $245,000. I think that this is quite strong evidence because it is the most recent, done in spring of 2020, and included information about our condo building and photos of the inside of our unit as well and then assessed by an expert. So to kind of support further that appraisal value of 245, I'd also looked at some sales of comparable properties to determine if that 245 value was supported. So the first comparable property that I had was Unit 103 at our same building, which is the comparable number 1, which was provided by the assessor. So that unit, which was sold in 2017, which is some of the more recent sales data that is available on the city's sales data, which I attached as attachment number 2. This unit sold a couple years ago at a value of $235,000, which in the time adjust sale price is $235,900 according to the city. This one is a very comparable unit. It's in the same building. It's on the same side of the building as us with the same layout. It has an exterior balcony like ours and same view as ours. It has 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and very similar square footage. So that unit, I think, is a very comparable one to ours, except for that ours is on an upper floor. So if we take that $235,900 value from the adjusted sale price for today's dollars, and we added, say, an additional $10,000 for us being on the top floor instead, then that would bring the price of our unit to around $243,000. So my second comparable property was in the building, which is 1143 St. Anne's Road. I included a building map location, attachment number 3, which shows that 1143 is one of the closest condos to ours in the same area, kind of similar in terms of the building year, except for 1143 is a little bit newer and it's closer, it's further off the road. So this unit has, like I said, proximity to our building, same number of bedrooms and bathrooms, very similar square footage. It had sold for $258,000 in 2016 and was assigned a updated today's dollar sale price of $261.9. So I've provided the sale price per square foot there as well in my summary document. I believe that this one is also similar, except for it's not directly comparable. If you took that price per square foot and applied it to our unit, you would get around $259. But I've outlined several reasons why this building is, even though it's close in proximity, it's definitely not quite comparable to use as a extrapolation for our value. This unit is on the first level, whereas ours is on the third. So you might think that ours would be better for that. However, this unit number at 1143 backs onto a forested area and the Seine River. It's extremely quiet and has a nice view. It's not on a noisy street with an ugly distribution line out the window. So I think overall that one would definitely be advantageous once you know about the setting of the building there. Being directly on the river would be a major advantage for view and noise levels. Also, that building is from 2012, which is much newer than our 2006 building. And that building has a newly updated kitchen and appliances and is more modern and aesthetic. And it has a couple of extra square feet. So I kind of estimated that if you subtracted around $18,000 from the value of that unit, you would get a more fair value for what our unit might be assessed at based on older building, worser building location, higher noise level, worse view, less up-to-date appliances and finishes, all those things, I think we end up around a value of 242. And the last comparable sales item that I have was from building 1145, which is the unit adjacent to us, but it is in close proximity to our building, but it's a couple hundred meters further off of the road. It has the same number of bedrooms and bathrooms and a similar square footage, although it is a bit larger. That unit 202 at 1145 St. Anne's Road sold for $267 in 2016, which gives it a higher adjusted sales price in today's dollars and dollar per square foot. However, again, I don't believe that building is directly comparable to ours. That unit is much closer to the river and further off of the noisy road. It'd be much quieter. And this unit in particular, when you look at where in the building it is, it actually faces southwest onto an open green space, not towards the back lane. That building is also from 2011, which is quite a bit newer than our building from 2006. And it has much more modern and aesthetic, newly updated kitchen and appliances, has a couple of extra square feet. And it also has a better layout, I believe, in terms of having an actual eating area for a kitchen table, which is practical, I guess, and aesthetic as well. Whereas our unit is just kind of one rectangular space for the kitchen living room with no specific area where you can actually really fit a kitchen table. So on that one, taking all those items into consideration, I thought that it would be fair to subtract $30,000 because ours is an older building, less up-to-date appliances and finishes, location and view, and noise levels. So again, that would bring it down to a value closer to 242, which is, I think, more in alignment with what I'd extrapolated from the last comparable properties. So looking at the three sales of comparable properties, I am determining a value closer to 242, 243 for our unit based on extrapolating from those three units, which is much more in alignment with how the bank appraised our unit just this spring in 2020 at a value of 245. As part of my evidence and summary table, I also included some comparable properties that are currently or very recently for sale. I've noticed that unit 206 at 1151 St. Anne's Road in our building was for sale, and the posting was online just a few days ago, but it seems to have very recently sold. So I wasn't able to provide the information for that as part of my evidence as a printout of the listing because the page had disappeared. But that unit is also very comparable to our unit. It is, it has like 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, similar square footage. It's in the same building. It is actually more beneficial than our unit in terms of the fact that that unit 206 is on the south side of the building, which overlooks a grassy yard of the condo and does not face onto the street like ours does. And that unit was listed at 234.9. It had been for sale for over a year and wasn't selling. So I believe that that listing value is actually very close to what it was going to sell for based on things I had heard in the building, and the fact that it had been for sale for over a year and was not able to sell suggests that it was not being deemed a cheap price by the market. So if we take the 234.9 listing price for that similar unit in our building and calculate $1 per square foot, and then taking into the account adding in an extra few $1,000s for the sake that our unit is on the top floor and their one is on the second floor. So we're one level up. And also the fact that theirs has an enclosed balcony, whereas ours has an exterior balcony. So they have an extra 20 square feet. I kind of decided that if you take that cost per square foot and apply it to our unit and then add in an extra few $1,000s for our unit being higher up and such, then the price of our condo would be extrapolated to be closer to $236, which is actually lower than what I calculated from the sales prices and from the assessed value from the bank. But that would be the most up-to-date sales information. And then another listing that was comparable, number 2, is Unit 202 at the adjacent building 1145 St. Anne's Road. That one, you'll notice, is actually for sale now, but it had sold a couple years ago in 2016. So I had included that one in my sales data. So that unit is now currently listed for $234.9, whereas in 2016 it sold for $267. So I think this shows that the value of that unit has actually gone down over time. Since 4 years ago, it sold for over $30,000 more than what it's currently listed for, $34,000 difference there. So I think that, again, I provided some more information on that one. If you take its listing value per square foot, apply it to our unit, the value comes out at $233. Again, even lower than the sales data and the assessed data. And then the last listing that I have is Unit 105 at Building 1145. It's close to our building, same bedrooms and bathrooms, similar square footage, but it's a newer building and it's further from the road. That one is also currently listed at $239.9. So that listing value, again, much lower. And if you apply that listing value per square foot to our unit, you would get a value of under $230,000. I had also included some information about some significant repairs and other issues required for our building. So our building has a structural issue with at least one of the balconies, and we had done a partial demolition to open up the balcony, have an engineer assess it. We had to temporarily shore the balcony or support the balcony. And then we hired an engineer to come up with a tender as well as drawings and hire and then get bids from different contractors to perform the work. So we're at the stage where we've determined which contractor we are hiring to do the work. We've got costs already from the initial contractor that did some of the demolition and shoring, costs already from the engineer that did the initial assessment and recommendations and tendering and drawings. And we have a bid price from a contractor to perform the repair on that one balcony. And there was also concern that there could be issues with some of the other balconies, but we haven't actually torn off any of the stucco to check any of the other balconies yet. So the all-in cost of what we expect from start to finish engineering and construction for that fixing that one balcony is expected to be around $50,000. So I had included a couple of evidence items for that, including the invoice of the engineering costs that we've received so far, although there will be more for the inspections during construction, as well as the bid price for the contractor that's doing the work, and a email from our condo board president, who had emailed out all the owners of the unit indicating that the total expected cost is around $50,000. I also included a photo of the balcony when it had been partially demolished and when it had some temporary wood shoring in place prior to different metal shoring being installed.
Do we have those pictures here?
Yep.
Where are they? Are they on a separate file?
Well, as I told you at the beginning, item 9 has about 8.
Oh, okay, I'm
files
sorry.
for it.
That's correct. You did bring me up to speed on that. Okay.
Yes, I believe I attached one photo of the balcony. It didn't attach like a regular attachment for some reason. I think it was embedded in the email.
It says
Got it, thank you. I'm trying. Can you open it, Lori? Okay, you can, I can't.
So our major concern with this structural issue is that there could be issues with other balconies because it was due to a waterproofing issue and the method in which it was constructed, and all of the balconies in theory are either the same or very similar. So we're going to have to be doing some waterproofing repairs, at least for preventative measures on the other balconies, if not having to do additional structural repairs on other balconies in the future. So as of right now, there is barely enough money in our reserve fund to pay for this one balcony. The owners of the building voted to pay for half of the repair and all in costs out of the reserve fund, and the other half by cash. So our expected value, I calculated for the reserve fund after paying for the repairs will probably be around only $40,000. So based on our building being 14 years old, having $40,000 in the reserve fund would probably scare off some potential buyers in my mind. So I think that this structural repair in conjunction with the low reserve fund is something that does affect the value of our unit. I did include some additional information as well, attachment number 6 for the reserve fund study. I did not include all 50 pages or whatever of the reserve fund study, but I provided, I think, 3 excerpt pages that kind of give a bit of a summary. Basically, what it's saying is that with the current amount in the reserve fund, it would not be enough to pay for upcoming repairs that would be required for the repair and replacement schedule that they included. So in order to avoid cash calls or special assessments for owners to have to suddenly pay out money for fixing things, they were indicating that we would have to have an increase of almost $1,000 per unit in the first year, along with annual increases of 2% each year. So I believe that reserve fund study shows that there are a lot of upcoming expenses, and our reserve fund is not sufficient to pay for those. So there would be a lot of concern, I think, from prospective buyers who would receive a copy of that as part of their disclosure. I did list out some of the upcoming major repairs that were listed in the study, including building sealants, lighting, wall finishes, attic space, sump pumps and pits, venting, fire protection, balconies, air exchange units, plumbing, eaves troughs, roof, soffits, fascia, etc. And basically they calculated that over the next 17 years or so, we would need $40,000 per year if you were averaging it out rather than having large special assessments at those times in the future. So the engineer's report in that reserve fund study, I think, is showing that the low value of a reserve fund study for their upcoming repairs is a concerning thing that could affect our sale value of our unit. I'd also included a couple of other minor items in my summary file with respect to some issues that we had with vegetation on the property from some bug infestation and the fall ice storm. And for our unit, I noted that our unit has some older appliances in terms of the laundry machines, the oven, the stove, the dishwasher, the microwave, like the built-in microwave and vent hood, as well as our unit has older finishes in the kitchen and bathrooms. And we have a bunch of holes in our walls that were left from the previous owners as well. So I think that concludes my information. I did include that additional information on the structural repairs and the listings. However, I know that most of the weight is given to the sale of comparable properties, and also I think should be given to the very recent spring 2020 appraisal by the bank. So I will turn it over to you guys for your questions.
Candace, you're up first.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. So the balcony, the photo you submitted is from a different unit in your building, but they're thinking that it may be widespread, like there may be issues with all or more of the balconies, at least, is that correct?
Yeah, so the balcony that I submitted a photo of is Unit 101. However, balconies are considered part of the common element. So all unit owners, all owners in the building pay for the repair. So if it was, regardless of whether it's my balcony or somebody else's balcony, it's an eyesore and everybody pays for the repairs to be completed because it's part of the common element. And yes, there is a possibility that it can affect other balconies. When we had our engineer come out and do the original inspection, they noticed that the reason that balcony was damaged was because basically there's a wood framing that supports the concrete slab on top. And that concrete framing had water get into it and basically rotted out the wood. So it had no structural strength left in it. So the issue was that at the point where the balcony hits the column, it should have been sealed in that location. It should have been waterproofed, but there was gaps where the water could go directly into there. And from there, it would just affect all of the wood inside and rot that out. So basically, if all of our balconies are constructed the same, that means that they all have this wood support underneath of the concrete slab. And if any of our balconies have where it's not waterproofed properly, like sometimes the waterproofing sealant gets old and cracked and needs to be reapplied or it wears down with time. We noticed that a lot of the balconies did have where that waterproofing sealant had broken down or there were large cracks near the column. So we had tried to apply some waterproofing sealant on some of the other balconies as a preventative measure, and that's something that we're going to try to continue to do. But it's possible that water has already gotten into the other balconies as well and caused damage that we can't see unless we really open it up, which costs money to open it up and then to re-stucco. So we're trying to avoid that. We're not really able to do that much inspection. The reason that balcony at 101 was opened up and observed to be rotted out inside was because it was visibly sagging, and therefore we figured that there must be a structural issue, and that's why we opened it up. It is a little bit difficult to tell sometimes if some of the other units may have a similar issue, because if if the balcony is sagging, it could also be due to other aspects of the concrete floors of the building and the wood construction of the exterior and balconies shifting in relation to each other. So it can be more of a differential settlement issue. So it is difficult to tell the overall future potential scope of balcony repairs.
Thank you.
Lori,
I have no questions, thank you.
Ray, any questions, Ray? Oh, we don't hear you. Your mic is off.
Hang on. No, I have no questions. Sorry, it went off by itself. I don't know how that happened.
I have trouble reading lips today. Michelle, has your condo board looked at the insurance on the building?
Yeah, we have, and we looked at it together with the property management company or owner, which is D7. And D7, in their expert opinion of managing lots of properties, said that they thought that there was no legitimate claim under our insurance. And we did try to get some outside opinions on that, and it was the same kind of story. They didn't think that we would have anything under an insurance claim for the building, especially given the age of the building at this point. So we did talk about it, actually. We recently had our condo's annual general meeting a couple weeks ago, and we discussed it with all the owners that attended, and it was decided that there would be an extremely slim chance that this would be covered under insurance. And even if it did, the cost of opening up a claim, in addition to the cost of the increased future premium or increase on our insurance price, would basically take away all, or at least half of the benefits that we figured we would get from compared to just paying for the fix ourselves.
That's on the one unit.
On the one unit, yes.
So
If there were
damage, why would you not contact the actual insurance company? They're the professionals, and have them take a look at it.
It's possible that somebody on our board had talked to the insurance company. I think one of our condo board members did talk to somebody at the insurance company just to kind of get some information prior to opening a claim. But my understanding from that was that it sounded like there would be no legitimate claim.
And it's in 2016, your new home warranty ran out, correct, on the building? It was 10 years?
Sorry, what was that?
2016 would have been the year that it was. What year was it built? 2006?
2006. Yes, I think.
Is your building or the other one behind you? Or the other one?
My building is 2006.
Because the first 10 years is under the new builder's portion for the warranty.
Okay, so if the building is from 2006 and 10 years is what you're thinking the warranty would be, then we would be beyond that.
What was, that's not a fair, you just bought the unit? What year?
We purchased the unit in, I believe it was fall of 2018.
And these issues weren't showing up at that time?
No, these issues were only discovered, I don't remember the month exactly, but this spring or early summer. I think we started looking into it around May 2020.
So when you were aware of it, when the bank did a mortgage test on it, right? When they put your evaluation on it, the bank was aware of this information at that time?
No, when the bank assessed the value of our home, we didn't give them any information about the balcony, and I don't believe we had any knowledge of that at that time. The bank did the assessment based on photos of just inside our unit, and I think other information on the building in general. But that would have been done in March and April of 2020, whereas the balcony issues, we didn't start doing a bunch more. I know that for sure in June, we were working at trying to get the balcony shored up and inspected, and possibly in May. But at the time when we had our unit assessed by the bank, I don't believe we had any knowledge about the balcony issue, and the bank definitely did not have any knowledge about the balcony issue.
Okay, that concludes you talked a number of numbers from 232,000 to 243. What number were you looking for?
Well, I think, the sales data is more, probably more fair than the listings data, even though there are several listings down near the 235 value. I'm not quite sure why they're so low, or if they will in fact sell at that price necessarily. So based on the sales data of comparable units, I'm seeing a value of closer to 243, which is close to what we have on our appraisal from the bank of 245. So I was looking for something around 243 to 245.
Okay, thank you very much. That'll conclude the matter. And we're putting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Around if you don't want to. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you.
Put this down. And now we're going to.
Yes, the last one.
Yep, number 10.
You can take a seat in the chair up there.
And we got the same thing with this one, I see. Got a number of files, right?
Yeah, I tried to scan them, but I don't know if it works.
I can't even open it.
You can open pictures of that one. Mr. Waldman, for the record, can you please state your name?
David Waldman.
Do you affirm the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Do I affirm?
That you'll tell the truth today? The truth?
The truth, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know. I have never lied in my life.
Candace, when you're ready.
The subject property is roll number 12074505500. This is unit 310 at 476 Campus Boulevard. This is an apartment style condo built in 1977. The living area is 696 square feet. There's one bedroom and one full bathroom, a wall air conditioner, and a balcony. The 2021 assessment is $139,000, which is $199.71 per square foot. This property is actually sold twice post-reference, in November of 2018 and December of 2019. So I was unable to consider those sale prices during my review. I have 4 comparable properties here that are all located within the same condo complex. These are all apartment style units. The year built and effective year built range is all 1977. The living area ranges from 696 square feet to 709 square feet. All comparable units have 1 bedroom and 1 full bathroom. All have a wall air conditioner. Comparables 1, 2, and 4 have balconies. The sale price for these units ranges from $128,000 to $138,000, which gives a price per square foot of $183.22 to $198.28. I will note that comparable number 3 is slightly more renovated. It has a more modern kitchen, and the subject and the other 3 comparable do not have updated kitchens. So based on that, I am going to recommend that the 2021 assessment be reduced to 129,000 to bring it more in line with comparables 1, 2, and 4, which is $185.34 per square foot.
Mr. Waldman, are you okay with that recommendation of 129,000? Or are you going for better?
I paid it 123.
You're aiming for 123, then you'll have to give us some evidence to get us
Move
there.
this down?
She's,
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
now you can move it down. You can actually take it off
I
if
paid
you'd like.
123 on November 7th, 2019. That was on the state sale.
You paid what?
123.
123? Do you have any questions of the assessor before you make your presentation?
No?
No?
I don't know how the system works.
Well, we'll work you,
Never.
we'll work you through it. Lori, do you have any questions of the assessor?
I have no questions, thank you.
Ray, do you have any questions of the assessor?
No questions, no.
Okay, so the assessor is recommending 129, you're saying 123 because that's what you paid for. Anything else you wanted to put on your presentation?
No, except I don't know what's fair. I don't have a clue. I've never been through this process before, but I do know.
Can you tell us
You're
to,
recommending 129?
she's recommending you go down to 129. But,
Well, it's better than 130.
can you tell us what,
123, so,
can you tell us what condition your, place is in?
pardon me?
What condition is your apartment, your condo in? Condition?
Well, it's very poorly constructed. I've now gone to the fire department, who are responsible for ongoing code enforcement, because I'm an engineer and I'm an electrical engineer, and we don't have a fire alarm system. 3-story building. You can't exit from the second and third floors. You can from the first floor to the grade, but you have to use the corridors. And there's no fire alarm system. As my experience as a professional engineer, I'm retired. That building does not conform to code.
Well,
It has a battery smoke detector and no fire alarm system. No pull stations, no heat detectors in the building.
what year did the code change for them to put that in?
I was in an older building apartment that had a fire.
But it had been renovated.
Pardon me?
But that building must have been renovated then. The building must have been renovated if it was brought up to code, correct? The
The
previous
other
one?
building?
Yeah,
Yeah, they've installed a fire alarm system.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you have a building, I think we have 7 suites. The building is 2 parts. It's properly fire separated, as I would define that. You know, fire rated doors and stuff. There was a center corridor, but there's 7 suites on each side. And how are we to know if there's a fire? I mean, the whole point of this thing is, 1, to inform the tenants that there's a fire in them so they can get out. And 2, to tell the fire department where the fire is.
how old are the windows in the building?
Original.
Have it's got a sloped roof on it, does it not, on the top? It's not a flat roof?
No, it's flat,
It's a flat roof?
3-story. And I don't understand how they've allowed people to live there. It's basically combustible construction, it's wood. It's nicely fire set. The architectural is good. The electrical is pathetic. And not only does it have no fire alarm system, I don't understand how that's even possible. And so I've gone to fire prevention because they're responsible for ongoing code enforcement. I haven't heard from them. But I laid out all the problems. Anybody, if there's handicapped people, there's no elevators. So if there was a fire, God forbid, and people are on the second and third floor, and if they're not mobile, I don't understand the building, how it ever got passed. It's a very dangerous building. There are people with mobility issues in the building.
Did you have any questions of him?
So we're gonna, but have a big reserve. So my hope is the fire department inspector will come down, and I haven't heard from him. And we can talk. My recommendation is that that building has to be brought up.
Bring it to your
bells.
board's attention.
Yeah, we don't have bells, we don't have buzzers, we don't have pull stations, we don't have heat detectors. I mean, it's like it. I don't know how it passed inspection, even for 1977.
Okay, leave it with
Much
us.
older building than the apartment before I lived in it, and it had a fire alarm system.
Leave it with us, and you'll be hearing what we've decided.
Well,
number.
If I had known this, I might not have even asked for it.
One of my colleagues did
That's
send
where-
an email, so
Well,
maybe you didn't receive
You know,
it.
you can't be that accurate, so.
We wanted you to have your exercise today. Thank you for coming.
Well, I know, I wish I'd talked before. She didn't, so, but that's a serious problem she has. But it has nothing to do, I mean, you buy the buildings like this. It's supposed to be covered by the reserve. That's-
You're on the board now. Have a great day.
Same to you, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Hello?